Welcome back to Micmac Stadium. Coming up, the gold medal game featuring the team from Ontario, the Tecumseh Green Giants, against the team from Quebec, the Quebec Selects. Steve, should be a good matchup.
Yeah, it should be. The Tecumseh Green Giants, first time since 1985 that they've found themselves in the gold medal game. That game back in '85, they had a 6-0 lead in the 6th inning, only to fall behind and lose a heartbreaker 7-6. So I'm sure that's going to play on a few minds. But they've got this year additions, and Rob Murphy, Mike Cooper, Paul Rutschke, Mike Wilson. Also been playing many gold medal games over the years and their experience with the Chiefs. I think that the Giants are going to rely on the leadership of those 4 individuals, and I look for the Giants to win big.
Welcome to Micmac Stadium. It's a beautiful day here for a gold medal game. The wind is blowing straight out to right field, so if any left-handed hitters get it up in the air, it's going to travel. And we're just about set here for this gold medal game. Jason Bryan's on the mound for Tecumseh. And leading off for Quebec is number 77, the second baseman, Martin Beauchamp. And he looks at ball 1. 1 ball to the second baseman as Bryans goes into his windup. Ball outside. 2 balls now, the count on the leadoff hitter Beauchamp for this Quebec Select team.
Bryan's a hard-throwing right-hander, as we said, just overcoming arm problems at the beginning of the year, and a welcome addition to the Green Giant staff. Mike Wilson behind the plate, no stranger to international or national tournaments. So Willie playing in his 5th Canadian Championship game, 4 of them being with the Windsor Chiefs, and his first one with the Green Giants. And Bryan's, as I said, a hard-throwing right-hander. Has a good curveball, will throw the occasional changeup. And he and Willie talking before the game, they agree that the fastballs, any hard stuff he throws, they're going to keep it on the outside part of the plate to the left-handers. You don't want any left-hander turning it out, turning his hips around and getting a hold of one into the wind today.
The 3-1 pitch is right down the middle for strike 2.
The thing I like about Bryan's is he's a fast worker. He gets the ball and he's right back on the mound, right back on the rubber, ready to throw again. You get some guys that are always taking a lot of time between pitches, put your fielders to sleep.
As Beauchamp looks at ball 4, the leadoff man for Quebec draws a walk, and that'll bring up the center fielder, number 91, Benoit Belanger.
Wilson coming out and just telling Bryans just to throw strikes. It's me and you, baby, just play and catch, and you know, just throw strikes, challenge the hitters, make them hit the ball. Defensively, Green Giants having by far the best team in the whole tournament. I think the only team that actually compares with their strength up the middle is WA, of course. They had the 2 junior players, Stubby Clapp and Jody Brown, and to say they were impressive might be an understatement. They were awesome.
Ball to Cooper. He throws to Mahler covering first for the put out.
Belanger laying down the sacrifice bunt. Now for you young players sitting at home, and even for the coaches of our amateur teams around the sandlots here in Windsor, in that a lot of people think that on a sacrifice bunt the runner is going, he's trying to steal second, and the bunter has to bunt anywhere where that pitch is. Not necessarily. Runner's job, wait until the bunt is down. The hitter's job, only bunt strikes. You get some pitchers refuse to throw strikes. As a coach, I just tell my players, pull the bat back and take it as a ball. We'll take that free pass anytime.
So Martin Lefebvre takes strike 1.
It's a swing and a miss, curveball in the dirt. Bryan's probably, I know Wilson likes to throw a lot of, or likes to call a lot of curveballs, start hitters out with a curveball. If you can get that first pitch over, especially with the off-speed stuff, you're going to set up the hitters any which way. And I'll tell you, Willie as a catcher is very good at that.
One and 1 count. Now to Lefebvre. And the pitch is foul the third baseline, and it'll get out of play and into the stands.
Lefebvre not getting around on Bryan's fastball there to make the count 1 and 2. The thing I like about Wilson is not only is he a big target behind the plate, but I know Willie, in catching me several years, he gives you that that attitude that it's you and he against the hitter. It's like a 2 against 1, and I'll tell you, as a pitcher, that's great for your confidence. He really knows what he's doing and calling a good game behind the plate there as he sets up on the inside corner. Strong wind blowing out to right field, which I've said several times, even in the bronze medal game. And if anything, the wind is only picked up. You know, here I was talking about Wrigley Field and the launching pad in Atlanta. This park is almost like resembles Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Just strong winds the whole day, and it's even going to right field, just like in San Fran. Cooper a little upset with that call. I don't know if we'll get a second chance to look at the replay. Personally looked up here from the press box that Lefebvre was safe. Lefebvre hit a shot right back at Bryans. Bryans went down, went off his leg. Lessard did a good job in sticking with it. Here we see the replay. Lessard does a great job barehanding the ball, and he was safe. So Coops, I guess, being the competitor he is, asking for the call, but umpire Steve Nicodemo says no dice. That makes it 1 out here. I'm sorry, 1 out still in the Quebec first inning. Quebec selects Tecumseh Green Giants, the site, the scene, Micmac Park, the finals, the gold medal game, winner take all. Canadian Senior Baseball Championships.
That pitch a ball down low to Eric Frechette. As we've got runners on the corners with only 1 out here in the top of the first for Quebec. Trying to get the changes here that the Quebec team has made due to injuries. So hopefully we'll get things going here.
Right now, Bryans is having a hard time getting ahead of the hitters. Each guy is going over 2-0, 3-1, and if there's anything that puts your infielders and outfielders to sleep quicker, I don't know what it is. The guys love to play behind a pitcher who's throwing strikes, getting ahead of the hitters. It keeps the fielders on their toes. They don't start rocking back on their heels, and you get that little extra jump on the ball when it's hit.
And that ball hit solidly down the right field line, but just curving foul.
Rick Wiseman making the call, foul. If you notice in this game, we've got 6 umpires. Reason being all 3 bases, and then of course Don Gilbert, the Windsor native, behind home plate. And then we have a right field line umpire and a left field line umpire. So the men in blue, all 6 of them have their work cut out for them. You talk about pressure situations, not only for the 2 teams, but for the 6 men in blue.
Two and 1 the count now to Frechette. As Bryans checks the runner at first. Now he delivers home. Curveball over for strike 2, and that'll even the count at 2-2.
Yeah, Bryans better get a little more snap on that curveball. That one just kind of hung in there, and I think that surprised Frechette, because you start hanging curveballs like that, the wind going out to right field as strong as it is, and these left-handed hitters, boy, they turn around on one and it's see you later.
The pitch from Bryans is hit into left field for a big hit. Butler gets it up and into Burke, the shortstop, quickly. But Beauchamp scores for the first run of the ball game, and Quebec takes an early 1-0 lead.
I like to see the adjustment that so far the Quebec team has been doing. They figured out that Bryans does not want to come inside, especially on the left-handers. He can try and keep the ball away. And you see Frechette here, as we see on the replay, Wilson set up outside. Frechette just goes with the pitch and punches it out in left field. So Quebec showing that they're not going to let their egos get in the way here and try and jack the ball over the fence. So they'll be willing to spray the ball any which way.
And that'll bring up the right fielder, Morris Mazoka. And the first offering from Bryans is over for strike 1. Umpire Gilbert behind the plate, taking his time on making the calls. As Mazoka in, Bryans looks in to get the signs from Wilson. Now he comes to the set, checks the runner at second, kicks and delivers. Big cut at a fastball, strike 2. 0-2 now they count to Mazoka. Runners at first and second. That's Lefebvre on at second and Frechette on at first. 1 out and 1 run in for this Quebec team here in the top of the first. As Bryans comes to the set, kicks and delivers inside, ball 1. 1-2 now the count to the Quebec right fielder. As he looks down for the signs.
Bryans is what we call a with the seam fastball thrower. He's going to grip the ball with the seams, make that ball dip or sail, move around a little bit. He's not going to be throwing across the seams fastball, not by any means. That's safe for your Nolan Ryans, your Jack Morrises, even Bob. Try and get that rising fastball.
1-2 pitch from Bryans is low and away, ball 2.
You get
evens it up at 2-2.
You get some pitchers who really aren't honest in their self-assessment. They picture themselves as being hard throwers, and they want to throw that cross-seam fastball. Then they see the ball really rise over the left field fence, center field fence, and right field fence. So you have to be very honest in your self-evaluation. Otherwise, it can get you into a lot of trouble.
2-2 to Mazoka now as Brian gets set. Delivers home, fouled straight back by Mazoka to keep the count at 2-2.
Well, Mazoka fouling it straight back. As I said in one of our earlier telecasts, when you foul the ball straight back, that means you are right on this pitcher. You pull it foul or get on the other side, either you're way ahead of it or way behind, but you foul it straight back, you know you're right on this guy's number. Mazoka trying to cash in here. Go for the jugular. Quebec already jumping to a 1-0 lead here in their top half of the first. The finals, the gold winner take all Canadian Championship.
2-2 pitch is hit off the glove of Bryans and out into center field. Coming around to score is Lefebvre, and retreating back to second is Frechette, and Quebec jumps out to a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first off of the pitcher, Jason Bryans.
Frechette being waved by his third base coach to come on over to third, but he hit a soft spot just rounding second base and he tumbled over. And Murphy, even though it's a cardinal sin for an outfielder to throw behind the runner, Murphy saw that he fell down, so he was trying to nail him close play at second, but Frechette barely got back in time.
So an RBI single for Mazoka, and that will bring up the designated hitter, Mario Waugh.
3 straight singles here in the first inning, and there's a little rustling over in the Tecumseh bullpen. Sean Connor, number 19. Sean O'Connor, the ace of the Team Canada pitching staff this past summer, and he's already thrown 1 game. He might come in to relief here in the early going.
Strike to Waugh.
Actually, in talking with you earlier, Rick, we'd anticipated that O'Connor was going to get the start for this game. We didn't know that Bryans had been untested and that his arm was fresh, ready to go.
I figured O'Connor was going to be the starting pitcher definitely today.
Myself included.
The 0-1 pitch is a soft grounder to second. Mahler goes to short for 1. The relay back to first, not in time. Good job by Cooper to save a run there. As Frechette was sneaking off of third base.
Soft ground ball to Mahler. Mahler actually does a good job. Notice he goes to his left. Most second basemen would just take the 1 out at first base. He shows a lot of guts and going to second. Wasted throw by Burks. Brian standing there actually should have positioned himself behind Cooper at first in case of an overthrow, which you see Coops makes a nice play. Usually that's the catcher's job. And that, in this case, can't do that because he's got to cover home watching the guy on third base.
So with 2 outs, it'll bring up the third baseman, Claude Gravel. Runners at the corners. Frechette on at third, Waugh on at first, as Bryans checks Waugh back.
Mario Waugh, no relation to Patrick Waugh, and if you're chuckling about that, well, we had one NHL goalie participating in this tournament, even in the bronze medal game. First time we've seen him on the telecast, Sean Burke, who was recently traded to Hartford, went 0 for 4 as the first baseman, and hit .256 in the tournament, which still isn't too shabby there, Rick.
Not bad at all, for a goalie anyway.
That's right.
1 ball to count on Claude Gravel, the Quebec third baseman. As Bryans looks in to get the sign. Comes to the set and delivers inside, ball 2.
Well, Waugh getting ahead of the pitcher here, 2-0. If he was to fall behind at 0-2 or 1-2, I would almost look for a double steal here, especially Waugh being the 7th hitter in the lineup. You never know. We'll see if he has Gravel try and go. Men on first and third. Quebec scores 2 here in their top half of the first inning.
And the runners stay put as Gravel hits a ball to deep right field. The wind carrying it back to the warning track and over the head of Johnson. So 1 run will score, and holding up at third is Mahler. So there's the wind being a factor already in this game, Steve.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm sure the coaches had a little talk with their players and said, look, make sure you run everything out, because also right field is not only, I tell you, here's the replay. Pity those right fielders today. They don't have only the wind to deal with, but they've got a tough sun field out there, so they have to deal with that too. Johnson first went over his right shoulder, then he tried to backpedal. I think he just screwed himself in the ground there. My theory is, you know, if the ball's in the park, he should have had that. Rick Johnson, being a veteran of Team Canada, I'm sure would agree with me on that one. We'll score an error there, and 2-base error for Waugh. That brings in another run for Quebec. The Quebec Select All-Stars. If you're wondering what the significance is of the team nickname, they're not a club team. Tecumseh Green Giants winning the Senior Ontario Elimination Tournament. While in Quebec, what they did was they had a Senior Elimination Tournament. However, this team was scouted heavily with the coaches, and in turn, after watching the tournament, they picked who they thought were the 20 best players to represent the province. Those 20 players including 7 pitchers, 13 position players, and this is the first any type of game action in this that they've had as together as a team unit, and I tell you, they couldn't do much better being in the gold medal game right here.
Definitely. Now coming up to the bat is the first baseman, Martin Lacasse. Lacasse looks at strike 1 right down the middle of the plate. Runners at second and third. That's Waugh on at third, and Gravel with the RBI double on at second. Bryans goes into the windup, delivers home, high for ball 1. 1-1 the count now to Lacasse.
Bryans, I know, wants to go right after this guy, Lacasse. We saw him get a couple of hits last night, then a losing cause there. The Quebec team losing 9-6 to the same Tecumseh Green Giant team, but a single here, I'll tell you, could really give them a nice 5-run lead even before Tecumseh gets up to the plate. And I'll tell you one thing is, even as a pitcher, if you let the opposite team get a few runs even before your team is up, that can be demoralizing. It feels like they're going to always come up and working themselves out of a hole. If they get a base hit here, Tecumseh's down 5-0 before they even send a hitter up to the plate. So this is a very key hitter that Bryans and Wilson have to deal with.
The 1-2 pitch from Bryans is fouled into the stands down third baseline. Good crowd on hand for this game, Steve.
Yeah.
Gold medal game.
Third baseline, I don't think we're going to have too many seats there left on the open side. First baseline, there's a few more. I think only because of the Quebec contingent is much smaller than the Tecumseh contingent.
The 1-2 delivery is outside. 2-2 now the count to Lacasse.
Bryans throwing 3 straight curveballs. I don't know if he's going to try and set him up with a fastball. Notice the curveball's all on the outside, which usually you'd think he'd put inside because the fastballs are away. You don't want to try and bust them up inside, especially with this strong wind going up. And we saw Lacasse. He's already hit 2 home runs in this tournament.
The pitch from Bryans, another foul ball and out of play. The count remains at 2-2. Bryans struggling here in the early going. 2 on and 2 out, and Quebec has put 3 men across the plate, and we're still only in the top of the first. Bryans doesn't like that ball, so he'll get another one from umpire Gilbert.
Well, Jason Bryans, a product of the Kansas City farm system, and just by coincidence, the Kansas City Royals right across the river at Michigan and Trumbull, and their pitches have been getting pounded by the Tigers as of late. Let's hope that Bryans can do other here.
Ground ball to Mahler. He flips over to Cooper at first for the out, and that'll end a big inning for Quebec, in which they scored 3 runs on 4 hits. There were no Tecumseh errors and 2 runners left on base. So at the end of a half an inning of play, Quebec selects 3, Tecumseh no score. Welcome back. There you see one of the youngest fans at the game this afternoon here at Micmac Stadium, all set with the bottle and everything. He's all set as Mama grabs him there. Says, don't go too far. We got to keep an eye on you. And leading off for Tecumseh in the bottom of the second is the left fielder who made that nice running catch, Alan Butler. Butler batting for the first time in this game. As St. Pierre delivers a first pitch to Butler, over for strike one.
Butler, a pickup that's seen action every game so far from the Toronto area, and playing not only an excellent defensive left field, played right field one game, but also hitting very well, hitting at a .333 clip, 7 for 21, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. He's been stolen a couple bases, so we know Butler can turn on the burners when he has to.
2 strikes now to Butler. As you see the Quebec pitcher, St. Pierre, Martin St. Pierre. So that's fouled straight back. Coming in is the first baseman, Lacoste, but he just can't get to it as the wind was blowing that away from him.
Actually, Lacoste misplayed that. Waugh was charging for it, but that's all first baseman's ball. What he should have done, instead of trying to time it, unless he had to deal with the sun, which I don't think so, not on the angle it's on, what he should have done is run right to the fence first with his head down, then look up, pick up the ball, and move to the ball. It's a lot easier that way. Even do that. That's what Johnson could have done the first inning. Run to the fence, then move in for the ball. This way you're never in danger of colliding with it, and you know where you are at all times.
And Butler goes down swinging on the very next pitch for the first out of the inning, and that will bring up the catcher, Mike Wilson.
Mike Wilson, of course, being a longtime Yankee fan, he says he feels at home in those pinstripes, says it feels good.
And the first pitch.
They're first getting to know Willie and always giving him all kinds of Yankee trivia. I couldn't believe some of the questions he was getting. I thought they were my keepers, the ones that no one knew the answer to except myself. And Willie was pulling all these answers. I thought, hey, before I start offering pizzas again, I've lost enough to this guy.
1-1 now, the count to.
Speaking of trivia, we'll have one at the end of this inning.
Ball inside, 2-1 now to the catcher, Mike Wilson.
We'll have a trivia question. The question being, name the only person to play Major League Baseball and play on an NCAA championship basketball team. If you have the answer, you can call 258-3611. We'll give you the right answer the next inning. Give you a hint, he pitched in the World Series.
And the pitch outside. 3-2 now to catcher Mike Wilson.
One fan yelling out, Danny Ainge. Incorrect answer.
Wilson hits a sharp ground ball to the second baseman, Beauchamp. He picks it up easily and over to first for the out. 2 outs now in the bottom of the second. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Chris Burke.
Here's a shot of how we're making the game go live out from this thing. Ready for take 4? Come on out.
And there you see one of our vantage points. The light standard. That's how it's being brought to you live here on via microwave here on Cable 11. Oh, not the microwave you cook with.
And no, not the Vinnie Johnson.
Ground ball fair just down the line at first. As Burke going for 2, the throw, and safe at second base. Good hustle by Chris Burke. As Burke gets it doubled right down the right field line. As here you'll see it again, Burke chops a high chopper over the first baseman Lacoste's head. And Burke taking advantage of the nonchalant play of Mazoka out in right field, and he just turns on the afterburners and goes in sliding safely into second base and trying to get something going for Tecumseh here with 2 outs in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, that's a good move by Burks. Even if he gets thrown out, you've got the number 9 hitter, and Mahler being a good hitter is almost like a 9 hitter. You can say he's a second leadoff hitter ahead of Murphy. So good move by Burks. He needs something to get his team pumped up, get him going.
And Mahler swings at the first pitch and misses for strike 1. 2 out here in the bottom of the second. A slow curveball goes over for strike 2.
Not impressed with St. Pierre in terms of quality of stuff, but the thing is he has made those pitches. He's been keeping the hitters off balance. He's been moving the ball in and out, not so much up and down, but hey, he's been getting the guys out, so you can't complain. You can't argue with that.
Fouled straight up, and that gets some screaming here in front of us as it bounces into the stands and out. Two strikes now, the count on the second baseman, J.C. Mahler. St. Pierre throwing a lot of off-speed curveballs. I think Tecumseh's going to start waiting on him, and he's going to be in trouble. A ball inside for 1-2 now, the count to Mahler.
St. Pierre a little upset with Gilbert. I think he wanted that pitch. Good curveball. Mahler thought it was a little low. Man in blue agreed with him.
St. Pierre's 1-2 pitch is hit to in the gap in left center. As it bounces, going back to cut it off is Belanger as Burke scores, and Mahler will stop at second base with a stand-up double. And there's the first run of the game for the Tecumseh Green Giants. They pulled within 2 as it's now 3-1 with the leadoff hitter Rob Murphy coming up.
That's exactly what the Green Giants need. We're going to get a second look at this. Mahler hits a fastball up and in, just sails it. Left center field, splits the left field and outfield, or left fielder and center fielder, falls in there. You see, they do a good job of getting it in. Mahler decides to hold up at second base. Cardinal rule, you do not want to get thrown out at third base as Murphy fouls one down the right field line. Cardinal rule in baseball, you do not want to get thrown out at third base to make the first or third out of the inning. So if it was 1 out, Mahler might have taken the gamble, tried to get third base, but here, no go. Why? Because with 2 outs, Murphy made contact. He's going anyway. He's going to score on a single. Murphy here has a stroke down, has hit very well this tournament. He's looking to bring in his teammate Mahler, bring the Green Giants within 1. Takes a fastball outside.
2 strikes, the count now to the leadoff hitter, Rob Murphy. Mahler at second base. That pitch goes way wide outside. 1-2 now. I'm sure JC's dad, George, sitting right in front of us, is proud of his son after hitting that double. George laughing, giving the okay sign. George, a fine umpire. Also, he umpires in the fastball league here in Windsor. As Murphy gets a base hit, Mahler being held up at third wisely, as that was cut off by Frechette in shallow left field. So runners at the corners now as Murphy gets his first hit of the game. 2 out, and that'll bring up Rick Johnson.
Here we see a replay. Murphy hits a ball out of the strike zone, slices into left field. Mahler being held up by Donnie Fields. As it turned out, Mahler would have been safe. I don't think Fields was unaware that there was such a weak arm out in left field, but at the same time, that left fielder was only about 30 feet off the infield grass, so I would have done the same thing in holding him up. Plus, you've got Murphy at first base. You don't want to take the bat out of Ricky Johnson's hands. He's had a hot tournament. If Johnson with 2 out falls behind in the count, look for them to put the double delayed steal, what we call, as I've referred to earlier, Kansas City. And if anyone can do it, hey, Rob Murphy and J.C. Mahler can.
Two outs now. Rick Johnson, the batter. He walked his first time up, so he's looking to cash in Mahler from third base. And a slow squibbler to third. Gravel will go to second for the out to Beauchamp, and that will retire the side. They got 1 run on 3 hits. J.C. Muller with the RBI double to cash Chris Burke. So at the end of 2 complete innings, Quebec selects 3, Tecumseh Green Giants 1. Now is Mario Waugh, the designated hitter. The first pitch to him was a ball, and the second pitch there, as you see, was a strike. So the count is even at 1-1.
On the previous hitter, Mazoka, Murphy made a nice catch. Mazoka got all of that one. I think the wind tied it up a little bit in the crosswinds there. Murphy did a great job in running right back as we see a ground ball to Cooper here. He handles it unassisted. 3U, that's how it's scored, 3 unassisted. Dave Cooper, the first baseman. First base always referred to as the number 3. Getting back to Murphy, running right back to the warning track, turned around, and there the ball was. Instead of running up with his glove up in the air, slows him down. Murph, outfielder by trade, and shows his center field position there. Murph's one of these guys that can play all the positions. I know for many years when Johnny Ivan was doing his stint with Team Canada, Murph was playing third base, and I remember a One Ontario tournament, we had a 3rd string infield. We had Angelo Fantu who's getting married, and Nelson were already with the national team, and we had Murph playing second base, and Eddie Petrachuk was at third. So, and the Chiefs of old come through and win, and so Murph there, just veteran play and back in his usual position out in center field.
And we've got a bunt down the third baseline, picked up by Bryant's throw to first, not in time. But we'll have to see. I had Claude Gravel as the scheduled batter, and that was Martin Lacasse.
That was Mario Waugh. Martin Lacasse is up now. Mario Waugh lays a nice bunt.
Okay, that was Gravel.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
No, it was Mario Waugh that was just up. That brings up Martin Lacasse with a bunt, or following a bunt single. 2 outs here in the Quebec third. They're up by 2. Pickoff attempt, just to show Brian's that Brian's just showing him that he's watching him. This would be a good time to test out Wilson's throwing arm. You've got a left-hander at the plate. A little harder for a catcher to throw down to second with a lefty up. See what kind of wheels he has. Ball gets away from him. Willie right on it. Willie's showing a lot of quickness for a big fella behind the dish.
I know where I went wrong. I had the wrong numbers in the wrong spot. That was Gravel that was up as Waugh grounded out to Cooper at first base, and Gravel had that bunt single, and now it is Martin Lacasse. I had Claude Gravel wearing number 60, and I didn't have a number down for him. I had Lacasse here, who's up now, wearing number 60, but he in actuality is wearing 61.
Well, before we get on you, Rick, we have to remind the viewers that there's a belt to right field.
Going back after it is Johnson off the fence. Gravel going, rounding third, and stops as the relay throw comes in. And Lacasse is down and hurt at second base.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, if he tripped over the base or what, but he's down with a shot of pain. I think Johnson, he might have lost that ball because he went right there and then just watched it go over his head. I thought he had a beat on the ball, and then it just sailed right over his head off the wall. We might get a second look at it, and we do. Lacasse hits it right on the nose. Now we see Johnson running right back. He turns around, and it goes right over his head. So maybe he just, I don't know if he misplayed it or what.
He might have misjudged it, I think.
Yeah, again.
He didn't think it was going as far as it did.
Very windy out there. And Fields is out, and he makes the call to the bullpen. We're going to see who they bring in. Speculation says it's going to be Sean O'Connor, and as I look, yes it is. O'Connor coming out of the bullpen. Brian gets a nice round of applause here. And the Quebec Selects coaching staff looking at Lacasse's leg, I don't know if he turned an ankle. He might have turned an ankle. Those bases out there are rubber coated, so they're not going to move. There's no give to the bag, and it's very easy, especially you have the rubber spikes. If they slide a little bit, it's very easy to turn an ankle on those. We're broadcasting live from Micmac Stadium, the first time a national championship has ever been played here in the City of Roses, Windsor, although here's a look at some of our fans right here behind home plate sitting in front of the press box. And even though this is the first national championship ever held, they've no stranger to the international baseball scene. 1986, 1987, both years, Micmac Stadium was the host of the World Junior Tournament. And rumor has it, the rumors have been flying all weekend. They've been getting in touch with Bernie Soulier, and Bernie and the Micmac organization prepared to make a bid to host that same tournament in 1993. The Canadian youth team still playing down in Panama in the 1992 World Youth Tournament, and if we hear any scores, we'll be passing them on to you. Of course, Canada being the defending champions, they were winning it last year in Kingersley, Saskatchewan. Stubby Clapp, who we saw play second base this tournament, WA, being a member of that team. And the youth team has always been very successful. John Upham, head coach for Team Canada, former outfielder and pitcher with the Chicago Cubs for many years, has been, as we look at our volunteer cameramen here, doing a great job this week. Uppy been involved with the Youth Canada program for about 5 or 6 years before moving on to the national team. Pitching coach last year, and this year he was the head man in charge, having another successful season, which really doesn't surprise us, Rick.
No, not at all. So with 2 out and 2 runners on, the shortstop Mark Goudreau takes strike 1 from Sean O'Connor.
We are not going to PSA at the end of this. You guys are going to have to talk to
The 1-strike pitch from O'Connor is high, ball 1. 1-1 now to
Talking
Goudreau.
with you earlier, Rick, we figured that Sean O'Connor was the man that Fields was going to go with, the starter. He started the first game, and talking with him yesterday, he said his arm was as good as gold and fresh. He was ready to start, and he was the ace of this Team Canada pitching staff right out of Ottawa, Ontario. The Chiefs had picked him up for 2 straight Canadian championships. The way the Chiefs discovered him was, I remember that game here 3 years ago in the Ontario championships. He had shut them out to the 7th inning. And the Chiefs came back. Ottawa made a couple errors, and he ended up losing 4-3, but it was a heartbreaker.
That pitch outside to even it up at 2-2. Not a bad way. If you can't beat him, join him. Chief said, well, you want to give us a hard time like that? Then come on with us and
That's
join
right.
us. 2-2 pitch from O'Connor is low and away. Ball 3. Full count now. First base is open.
That's right. They know Frechette is a good hitter, so he's going to be very careful. It's 2 outs. You know, it's not like he has to get this guy. Next guy being a left-hander, he'll probably challenge him, bust him inside, because O'Connor can be overpowering. And looks like he has his good fastball today.
The full count pitch from O'Connor. Wow. That was really close. But umpire Don Gilbert calls it ball 4. So Goudreau draws to load up the bases now with 2 out, and that'll bring the leadoff hitter up, Martin Beauchamp. Beauchamp walked in the first and sacrifice in the second as he takes strike 1 on the outside corner. O'Connor not missing much, even on that walk. He didn't miss much with any of those pitches. They're very close.
No, the thing with Sean is he's always around the plate. He won't hesitate to throw any pitch in any situation. Has a lot of confidence in every one of his pitches. He's the type that would throw a changeup or a curve even on 3-1.
2 strikes now to the leadoff batter, Beauchamp. Bases loaded, 2 out here in the top of the 3rd. And the pitch from O'Connor is fouled off down the first baseline. Oh, and 2 still to the batter, Beauchamp.
Beauchamp walked and sacrifice bunted his first 2 times up, and last night against this same Tecumseh Green Giant team, we saw him go 3 for 4. So he's a good hitter. He's done his job in the leadoff role, batting .485 this tournament, getting a few walks, and had 9 runs scored. So Beauchamp probably, I would say, the second best leadoff man in this tournament behind Murphy.
The 0-2 pitch from O'Connor is hit right back at him up the middle, and that will score Gravel from third as well as Lacoste from second. So Beauchamp comes through with a big 2 RBI single.
He hit that shot right up the box. I thought O'Connor was going to have it. I think if he'd have followed through on it, he might have had a play on it. O'Connor, well known for his fielding abilities from the mound, and he made a stab at it. It was just hit so hard it was already by him. So Beauchamp continues his hitting spree this tournament. This game is no exception. He gets his first hit of the night to go along with his walk and sacrifice bunt. They can't get that guy out. In 2 games, he has just torn the cover off the ball. That puts runners at first and second. First pitch, a strike right down the gut.
And Benoit Belanger, the center fielder, batting. He sacrificed in the first inning and walked in the second. 2 out here in the top of the third. 2 runs are in as the Quebec Selects have opened up their lead to a 5-1 lead now.
As a reminder, our trivia question: name the only guy to play Major League Baseball and play on an NCAA basketball championship team. 258-3611. Give your answer. We'll give you that answer at the end of this inning. 258-3611. Also, we'll be talking with Mike Dunning, the president of the Tecumseh Green Giants, and he had an interesting tidbit I'd like to pass on to you people at the end of the inning in regards to the history of the Tecumseh Green Giants. A very rich history indeed.
0-2 count out of Belanger. Ball outside, 1-2. O'Connor throwing very hard since he's come in. He's only really made 1 bad pitch, and that was the single to Beauchamp as he went right up the middle of the plate. Good play by the shortstop Burke to retire Belanger at first. But the Quebec Selects have damaged some more as they get 2 more runs on 3 hits and a walk as they lengthen their lead, I should say, to 4 runs by a score of 5-1.
Last chance for the trivia question. Name the only person to play Major League Baseball and an NCAA championship basketball team. I had one person yell out John Upham. No, Uppy did play Major League Baseball. No, Mike Berkovich did not play Major League Baseball. Played on an NCAA championship team. 258-3611. Call in your answer. And talking with Mike Dunning, the president of the Tecumseh Green Giants, and Dunning was telling me, I stand corrected. I had said on one of our earlier telecasts, the Tecumseh Green Giants never winning a gold medal. Silver medal in 1985. Well, he corrected me, and he had the newspaper article to prove it from 1891. That's right, 1891. The Tecumseh Green Giants beat the Chicago White Sox, who were classified as the world champions out of the National Association. That was the major league at that time, except the White Sox were called the Chicago White Stockings. Owned and managed by Charles Comiskey, hence the name Comiskey Park. We have a call in here and another incorrect answer. Reno Bertoia played Major League Baseball. Correct answer being Tim Stoddard. Longtime pitcher with the Padres, pitched with the Orioles in the '79 World Series, and he played for North Carolina State 1974 with David Thompson when they won the NCAA championship. So stay tuned. We'll have a few more trivia questions as the game goes on.
Dave Cooper leading it off for Tecumseh here in the bottom of the third. Ball inside. 2 balls now to the Tecumseh first baseman. Cooper with that wide open stance up to bat as St. Pierre delivers. Strike on the outside corner. 2-1 now, the count to Cooper. The 2-1 pitch is hit hard right back up the middle as Cooper gets his second hit of the game. Two singles for Dave Cooper.
Don't even think for a second that the Green Giants are going to roll over and play dead and concede this game to the Quebec team. Down 5-1. That was one of the things. I remember Earl Smith sharing a story with me about Sean O'Connor when he was a pickup in one of the Canadian Championship games. The Chiefs were down 8-0, got into the last inning, and it was like everything was cool, no big deal. They were going to come back, and they won it 9-8. And that was the thing. Just could not believe the character the Chiefs have had. Well, when he talks about that character, he's talking about guys like Murphy and Rutschke and Cooper and Wilson. And hey, it just so happens that these same guys are on the Green Giants now. So look for them to come back.
And there you see Rutschke with a hit. 2 straight hits in the 3rd inning for the Tecumseh Green Giants, and that'll bring up Tim Lassard. Lassard grounded to the shortstop his first time up.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Fields does here. Lassard having an average tournament, hitting .311, so actually he hasn't been doing bad. It'd be interesting. Personally, I'd like to see him bunt and move the 2 runners, just play for, you can't play for the big inning all the time. And move them over to second and third, takes you out of the double play. That would bring up Butler. Butler and Wilson both been swinging big bats for the Green Giants this tournament, so we'll see what happens. I don't know what kind of a fielder St. Pierre has, and his athletic ability and moving around, so it'd be a nice time just to find out.
And the first pitch is over for strike on the inside corner, and no attempt at all to square around by Lassard on that pitch.
Lassard not giving any indication that he's going to sacrifice himself, so Fields giving some signs. We focus in on Cooper taking a nice lead from second base.
That pitch up high for ball 1. 1-1 now, the count to Lassard, the Tecumseh third baseman. Cooper on at second, Rutschke on at first. The pitch from St. Pierre is in tight for ball 2. Two and 1 count to Lassard as St. Pierre gets his sign, comes to the set, delivers. Short hopper to the second baseman. They go to second for 1. The relay to first is wide, so they force Rutschke at second.
Yeah, Rutschke made a good play there by taking out the shortstop and forcing that throw wildly to first base. Might get a replay on this. See it in fast mo there. Now watch Rutschke go far to his right, taking out the shortstop, Goudreau. Goudreau throwing wildly. Cote makes a nice play in making sure that the runners don't advance. So we talked about Rutschke's base running abilities. No speed, but he is a smart base runner, and that's just another example of him helping out his teammates. 1 out here in the Tecumseh Green Giant third. Men on first and third. That brings up the shortstop, or I'm sorry, the left fielder, Alan Butler.
Butler hits the first pitch. Squibbler down the first baseline. They let it go foul. So it'll be strike 1 to Butler. Butler struck out swinging his first time up. Back in the second. Mike Wilson, the big, strong catcher for Tecumseh, waiting in the on-deck circle for his chance. Tecumseh seems to be seeing the ball a little better now, their second time around, seeing St. Pierre. As that ball goes in the dirt, it gets away, and Lassard will go down to second. The throw goes down, but not in time, as Lassard almost got caught jogging down to second base.
Yeah, I think what happened, he wasn't sure exactly where the ball was either. It's easy to sit in the press box and see where the ball is behind the catcher. The catcher lost sight of it, but I don't think Lassard saw it. Is right in his eyes, so he can listen to his coach and everything else, but as a runner you don't feel confident if you don't see the ball getting away from the catcher yourself.
Well, the ball there stayed up on the shoulder of the catcher, Lefebvre.
Yeah, it took a
and he didn't even know where it was either, and as he backed up to see where it was, rolled off his back and away.
That's a key play.
Another one in the dirt. Cooper, good job to stay there, knowing his speed ability, or lack of it, shall we say.
Yeah, that was a big play just before that. Lassard moved down to second base, because now it takes the Green Giants out of a double play situation. Not so much with Butler, because Butler has good speed playing left field, but Willie, being a good hitter, actually sometimes or many times is slow of foot, and the double play, Willie hitting the ball hard, can always is a double play threat.
So the 2-1 pitch is swung on. Pitcher and throws it away. St. Pierre got it and threw it to the backstop, and Lassard will come all the way around from second to score. And an interesting turn of events there, Steve, is I think with a 5-1 lead, I'd have went after the out.
Yeah, most definitely.
Take the out, give up that 1 run.
You're 5-1, make it 5-2, and 2 outs with a runner on third base. St. Pierre going for the gamble. The thing is, as we see him, he throws this ball off balance. He's not an infielder by trade. That sails like not even close. That's 10 feet over the catcher's head. And instead of getting an out and giving up a run, you don't get any outs and you give up 2 runs.
So now Tecumseh's pulled to within 2, 5-3, and I have to believe, Steve, with O'Connor on the mound, Tecumseh's got a good shot here.
Oh, yeah.
They come back. O'Connor's going to hold them close.
Most definitely. Like, pitcher comes in the early going in a relief role, long relief. It's his job just to hold this team in the game. Just say, look, just hold them down, hold down the fort, and let us kick and scratch back. Even if it's not a big inning, 1 or 2 runs at a time, and that's fine. And that's what O'Connor, that's what he did the last inning. We'll see if he keeps doing it. And the Green Giants, not anticipating the big inning, just want to get 1 or 2 at a time, and here they got a bonus.
That pitch outside to catcher Mike Wilson. 1-1 now the count to Willie. And Willie, capable, big strong boy, capable of tying this game with 1 swing of the bat with Butler on at second base. He fouls one off and out of play. 1-2 the count now to Wilson. And St. Pierre coming a little bit unraveled, I think, but he'll have to settle down because he's still ahead by 2. Only 1 out, though, here in the bottom of the 3rd, and a lot of baseball yet to play. Gold medal game. As St. Pierre delivers, Wilson a chop to second. Beauchamp flips it over to first to easily get Wilson for the 2nd out of the inning.
Nice piece of hitting by Wilson. Gives himself up for the good of the team. You notice he went to the right side, moving the runner from second to third base. Good job, Willie. Those are the little things that don't show up in the scorebook, that don't show up in the newspaper the next day, but I'll tell you where they do show up. Right on the bench, right with your teammates, your coaches, and your peers saying, hey, this guy is a team player.
And that'll bring up Chris Burke, the shortstop. He doubled his first time up in the 2nd inning. So Burke will be looking for a RBI here with Butler on at third base now. As Burke takes ball 1. Burke, a good smart hitter, takes a strike side corner. 1-1 now the count to Burke. And J.C. Mahler with the RBI double waits on deck. Burke hits a squibbler to the short. They're going to have to rush to get him. And they just get a sliding Burke into at first base.
If Burks would have just ran right through the base, he would have been safe. I still have yet to figure out why anyone would slide at first base except to avoid a tag. And the thing is, you don't see any managers ever talk to any guys about that. Sparky Anderson and Chet Lemon, he let him do it for years. Watch Burks, good hustle. It was a tough play by the shortstop. He made a great play. Now you run right through the base, you are safe on that ball. Instead, he's sliding. If that's the fastest way to get to a base, then why don't Carl Lewis and Johnson and those guys in the 100-yard dash in the Olympics, all those years of training, if it makes them faster, why don't they dive at the finish line? They don't. Fastest way, my producer Peter Neal says is scrape their knees. Yeah, but I'm sure those guys would do that for the gold medal. But hey, the fastest way is getting to the base is running hard right through it. Second fastest way is sliding. He would have been safe.
So Tecumseh, though, comes up with 2 runs to pull back within 2. We have a 5-3 score here in the gold medal game after 3 complete innings. The Quebec Selects leading the Tecumseh Green Giants by a score of 5-3. The starting pitcher for Tecumseh, Jason Bryans, roughed up in the first 2 and a third innings. So he was taken out, and there you see our score, 5-3 of Quebec over Ontario.
Well, time for another trivia question. Fans are asking me here, they're getting on my case. I haven't been given enough trivia. Call in the right answer, 258-3611. In 1961, the Yankees had 3 catchers. All hit 20 or more home runs. That was the same year Maris hit 61, Mantle hit 54, Moose Skowron, name out of the archives, 27. Yogi Berra, Elston Howard, and who else? Each hit 20 home runs. The year that the Yankees hit a record 240 home runs. 258-3611. We're waiting for your right answer. Here is the first pitch is a called strike.
Peter in the truck says Roger Maris. I don't believe Maris was ever a catcher.
No, he wasn't. Maris had 61 that year. He broke the Babes record.
Oh, Pete's not going to take credit for that
Pete's
one.
denying his answer. He said, oh, someone else told him. Yeah, sure, Pete.
1-2 the count on the leadoff hitter here for Tecumseh in the bottom of the 4th, J.C. Mahler, their number 9 hitter. He had an RBI double back in the 2nd, looking for his 2nd hit of the game as he goes down swinging on an outside pitch. 1 away now for Tecumseh, and that'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Rob Murphy. Murphy 1 for 2 tonight.
Well, Murphy's going to be looking at Donnie Fields, but at the same time, he's eyeing the third baseman. If we can get a picture of the third baseman having about 5 or 6 feet. Now he's decoying him. Yeah, smart play by the third baseman. What he does is he stands at a deep third base, so Murphy gets in his mind that he's going to lay one down just before the pitch. He comes jogging in, and he's playing just inside the base there, almost on the grass. Murph sees that, doesn't show any indication what to bunt whatsoever.
1-1 the count now to the leadoff hitter, Rob Murphy.
Played by Gravel there.
St. Pierre kicks and delivers. Murphy takes a big cut at it and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
Waugh setting up nicely behind home plate. If you notice that he's setting up on the outside, fastball. Now he sets up on the inside, curve, handcuffs Murphy.
Murphy hits a sharp ground ball to the second baseman, Beauchamp, who flips over to first for the out. 2 out now in the Tecumseh 4th inning. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Rick Johnson. Johnson 0 for 1 with a walk this afternoon. He's looking for his first hit of the day.
Well, St. Pierre doing a heck of a job so far in shutting this Tecumseh Green Giant team down. They have one potent lineup and not a particularly hard thrower. He's been unimpressive in terms of strikeouts, just been doing the job. Has many guys, 1, 2 walks, and just been throwing strikes. Here, guys, hit it. I'll let my fielders take care of the rest. And so far they have.
And you're right, Steve, nothing fancy, just
no.
Putting the ball across and saying, here you go, do it.
2 of the runs Tecumseh's got was on St. Pierre's error, as we see Johnson single into short left field.
So Johnson gets his first hit of the day. That'll bring up Dave Cooper. Cooper with 2 singles, going 2 for 2 and a run scored. So Coops looking to extend his hitting streak to 3 in a row.
Well, if there's any case of history repeating itself, the Chiefs being up by 3 in the 6th inning in the Ontario Championship final. Cooper coming up with 2 outs, 2 guys on, and jacking one over the fence to tie it up. And we'll see if Coops can repeat history here by 1 swing of the bat, which would tie it up and bring the fans to their feet. The fans, which as of now are lined up outside the outfield fence, and we still have a lineup at the gate wanting to get in, catch these last 3 innings of celebration for one of these 2 teams.
You throw over to first, back on time is Johnson.
You know, I should bring one point up. A fan asked me now, if one team wins, if Quebec wins, do they have to play another game thinking it was a double knockout? Not at all. Round robin tournaments, and this is the gold medal game. This is the final game. Whoever wins, whoever loses, this is winner take all.
2-0 now the count to Cooper, and I think Cooper's going to be looking for a pitch to drive into that beer tent in left field here. And that's what he tried to do, but he fouled it off down the third baseline. A little bit low and inside to be driving it for the long ball. But he had his mind made up. He was going to go swinging.
Yes, he did. 2-0 pitch. Fastball was coming in. We'll see 2-1 even if he comes in with the hard stuff or throws something off speed. Cooper, a good fastball hitter. Looks for the fastball, and then he adjusts accordingly if it's anything else.
A 2-1 pitch is inside. He got the slow curveball, but it just missed on the inside. 3-1 now to Cooper with the designated hitter Paul Rutsky up, and either one of these guys is capable of losing it at any time.
I would think with 2 outs, St. Pierre would come in with nothing but a fastball. Coops knows that. He's going to sit on it. Curveball inside. I cannot figure the theory of that out. Why would you want to throw a 3-1 curve and face Rutsky? Now you're putting a guy in scoring position. If Coops was the single, man on first and second, it's like, hey, he earned his way on. But instead, he issued him a free pass. Well, Rutter hit the ball hard last time up, right up the middle, and you can say that if I'm reading Rutsky's mind, he's thinking 3-run shot right now.
And Rutter steps out. Now he gets back in. He waits for the delivery from St. Pierre. St. Pierre kicks and delivers. Check swing down low for ball 1.
Rutsky's going to look for his pitch.
He's going to look for that pitch in that certain zone where he can drive the ball hard. And he got it, and that's what he did. It's up the gap in left center. In to score is Johnson, on to third. And out at second base was Paul Rutsky, and I have to question that play there, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he went on his own or if he got directions by his first base coach, because they just took him out of a nice inning right there. Tecumseh gets 1 run, a single by Rutsky. That's to make it 5-4. Now instead of men on first and third and 2 outs, Rutter gets thrown out, and here talking about what a smart base runner Rutsky is, I'm sure that he just got some misdirection by his coach there.
And leading off for Tecumseh in the bottom of the 5th is the third baseman, Tim Lassard. Lassard grounded out to short in the 1st and reached first base safely on a fielder's choice back in the 3rd. Strike 1 to Lassard. The pitch from St. Pierre, bunted down the third baseline. Good bunt by Lassard. They're going to have to rush to get him. No, safe at first base. Good job by Tim Lassard to leg that bunt out. Bunt by Lassard.
Lassard doesn't have blinding speed that Rob Murphy or Beauchamp would for the Quebec team, but it was a perfectly laid down bunt, and he just legs it out. Good speed for a big guy. Remember I talked about Lassard being the third baseman, and the prototype third baseman nowadays, as we see a pinch runner coming in, is best combination of power and speed in the whole organization. Lassard fitting that bill here. It's almost like the tight end in football, that type of equivalent. And the pinch runner for Lassard is Rob Lofgren. We saw him as a catcher last night. He's a pickup from St. Thomas. Lofgren picked up by the Windsor Chiefs last year, played every game behind the dish only because Pat Dumichel was hurt and they really didn't have a catcher. A couple other players playing out of position throughout the year behind the plate. Lofgren being a good addition for the Chiefs and helping them to a gold medal. And he's hoping to do the same thing, helping the Green Giants to a gold medal this year. There's a shot upper right-hand corner, Rick.
And there we are. with our flashy ties on today.
That's right. Hey, it's a gold medal game. You got to dress like a gold medalist, right?
That's it.
I'm sure there's a few people that are shaking their heads at that.
Say, we can't look like a
well,
gold
what happened to
medal
you
no matter
guys?
what.
That's right.
Yeah. Butler squares around a bunt. Nice bunt as the pitcher St. Pierre falls, but manages to make the throw from the sitting position to force out Butler at first base. But Alan Butler does the job and moves the runner Lofgren, not Lessard. Lofgren, the pinch runner.
Yeah, Lofgren's
safely
over at second base.
I
kind of don't. What I don't understand here is why would you put in a pinch runner only to sacrifice Bunham over to second base? You know, if you're going to do a hit and run or steal, then hey, leave Lessard in there. Unless they want Lofgren in, obviously not for his bat because they let Lessard hit. Defensive abilities, then you know, just put him in after.
And now we're going to get a new pitcher
out.
here too. See if we can catch a number on him. Number 80, I believe. 90. Okay, number 90. Check my list here. Number 90 is... I don't have a number 90.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll have to find out.
Send one of our messengers down to the other press box and get the official call.
And we just got word from the public address announcer board in Hildebrand that the new pitcher, number 90, is Claude Clement. Clement, number 84 on my lineup card here, but with all the different numbers that the Quebec team has, they all seem to switch numbers at any time.
Well, they tried to do that. I've never seen that happen before. Switching uniform numbers so a guy can re-enter in the game.
But that'll bring up the catcher, Mike Wilson, and Clement looks to be more of a fastball pitcher than St. Pierre was, and I think that'll benefit this Tecumseh team because they're all pretty well good fastball hitters.
Yeah. Well, we got an influx of seagulls coming around the diamond here, holding up the game for about a minute, but they've flown away.
And the first pitch from Clement, and a pickoff down at second base, safe, is Lofgren.
That's the first time I've seen Wap make any kind of a throw, and that was a seed from his knees. That's more like a Benito Santiago, just Santiago throwing from the knees there and gunning down a second, almost had him. Good move, got a pinch runner in there, keep him alive. He's falling asleep. Wilson trying to cash him in to tie the score here. The Green Giants trailing by 1 in their half of the 5th inning.
That ball low and away in the dirt. Good job by Lefebvre to block that one.
Willie always had a clutch bat over the years. He's batting 7th tonight over the years, if I remember correctly. Always batted in the 6th hole, and he was right up there amongst the league leaders in RBIs every season. Always hit about 320 and have a ton of ribbies.
The 1-1 pitch from Clement is through the hole at deep short, but it wasn't hard enough to score. The runner Lofgren.
No, Lofgren did a good play in holding up. You want to make sure that the ball goes through. See so many runners, even saw this in the big leagues the other night. Travis Fryman, ball hit in front of him, tries to get it at third base, gets thrown out. All right, Lofgren holding up. Once he sees the ball go, then he scoots to third base. So we watch here. You see him in the lower part of your screen. Right there he holds up, ball goes through. Now you see him enter the picture, coming into third base, picking up Donnie Fields all the way and holding up. Good piece of base running by Lofgren. Maybe that's why they got him in there instead of Lessard.
Nice try by the shortstop Goodrow as he almost come up with that ball. And like you say, if Lofgren's going to third, he's out at third base. So the batter now is Chris Burke. Burke takes ball high.
Burke's doubled his first time up, and he'd love to duplicate that feat right now. You know, the thing that surprises me so far is we keep talking about the Gale blown out to right field, but nobody has taken advantage of that. Maybe in the early going, 1 or 2 fly balls were misjudged out there, but all these left-handed power hitters, no one has sailed one over the screen yet. Maybe they're holding off for everything on the 7th inning.
2 balls now to Chris Burke, the Tecumseh shortstop. And Burke would love to duplicate his first at-bat where he hit a solid double. The pitch from Clement is up high, 3 balls. And J.C. Mahler, who also hit a double back in the second inning, his first time up, is waiting for his crack at Clement.
Well, Burke being the number 8 hitter.
Circle.
Number 8 hitter and 3-0 count. He's going to be taking all the way, and if he swings, I'd be very surprised here as he takes a fastball high to walk. That brings up the number 9 hitter, J.C. Mahler. Mahler doubled his first time up, hit a 2-run homer the first day of the tournament, and that was the thing Fields was telling me yesterday. His 7, 8, 9 hitters have been tearing the cover off the ball. A little more action up in the Quebec bullpen here on the mound. Bases loaded. He's nursing a 1-run lead the Quebec team has here in the 5th inning. In case you just joined us, you've been missing a whale of a ball game here on Cable 11. The gold medal championship game.
1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Ball 1 to J.C. Mahler. Nowhere to put him as the bases are loaded. And the leadoff hitter, Rob Murphy, waiting in the on-deck circle. Mahler hit a long double in his first time up. That's ball 2.
Seems that Clements is letting his emotion get the best of him. I know that Tecumseh bench starting to rile him up a little bit, and you can't do that when you're your premier athletes in the heat of competition in the battle. It's not like you can hear the other bench. You can't hear the fans, and that's because your concentration is so deep. Mahler, the number 9 hitter, he doesn't know if Mahler's a good hitter or not. He should be looking at it, number 9 hitter. He can't be that good, even though we know otherwise, and he should be challenging him.
Mahler calls time as he gets something in his eye.
As I said, in case you just joined us, you've been missing a whale of a game. I'm Steve Vorkapich bringing you the color commentary.
And I'm Rick Burns with the play-by-play as that pitch is right down the middle of the plate for strike 1. 2-1 now the count to J.C. Mahler. As Mahler waits, Clements delivers in the dirt, ball 3. 3-1 the count now to the second baseman for the Tecumseh Green Giants, J.C. Mahler. Nowhere to put him. And strike 2 on the outside corner. Smart play by Mahler there to take that pitch. He's got to come in twice, bases loaded. He's got nowhere to put him. A walk is just as good, if not better than a hit. So the 3-2 pitch. Fly ball to right field, tagging up at third. And the throw coming in, cut off as Lofgren comes sliding in to tie the game. The throw was offline, so I think in a way it was a smart play by the first baseman to cut that ball off.
Yeah, good job by Lofgren tagging up. I can't figure out what Mike Wilson was doing. He should be tagging up on second base. Any ball to right field. Willie should be tagging, going right to second or going to third. Unless maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe Willie has a bad hamstring or sore knee or something. You know those catchers, they always have the leg injuries. So Willie, also being a very sound, fundamental baseball man, holding up for some reason. I know it's not for lack of knowledge because Willie's probably one of the smartest baseball men around. So we'll see. Quebec making a pitching change here as J.C. Mahler's sacrifice fly to short right field ties up the game, 5-5. It's all fives. 5-5 in the 5th inning. 2 outs. That brings up the leadoff hitter, Rob Murphy. Murphy, as we said, on a track scholarship at Michigan State University, graduating a few years ago, and now a teacher here in Windsor.
And that's Yves Lavec, number 71, that takes the mound.
Staff had that in mind. They wanted to bring in the lefty to face Murphy, only because he's been last 2 times up he's grounded out to second base, and they didn't want to bring in a right-hander. We'd be digging in just a little bit more. So Murph, of course, with the best wheels around. This fella is just one outstanding athlete. As I said yesterday, went on a very stringent off-season conditioning program, beefed up a little bit, doesn't seem to have lost any of his speed. Second in the team in home runs. hits. Murph now, he's never a big home run hitter, but just another facet that he's added to his game. Speaking of the Murphys, they had an addition to the Murphy and the Labiak family. Al and Christina Murphy celebrating their firstborn the other day, Mary Margaret Murphy. So we want to offer congratulations and best of wishes to the new grandparents, the parents, and all the aunts and uncles, too numerous to mention.
And Rob expecting their first child.
That's right.
So we'll see if father-to-be here can put his Tecumseh team up with Mike Wilson on at second base. Murphy looks and takes strike one on the outside corner. 2 out now here in the bottom of the fifth, a brand new ball game. It's 5-5 now as Tecumseh has chipped away and fought back to tie this game. Pitch goes outside, 1-1 the count to Murphy as Levesque, the new Quebec pitcher, pitches to his first batter of the afternoon. As he comes to the set, kicks and delivers curveball. Murphy hits a base hit, and Wilson rounding third. He's going to score. The throw comes into third base. Sliding in safely at third is Chris Burke. And Murphy takes second base. So Tecumseh, with 2 outs, has taken their first lead of the afternoon. On a single by
Here
Rob
we get a
Murphy.
second look at that. Murphy hits a slicing liner deep left center field, and center fielder does a good job throwing it in. There's Wilson trucking along. Good job, Willie. Scoring the go-ahead run for Tecumseh, and Murphy wisely heads up base running. He takes second base, and that's how it stands. Tecumseh has the lead for the first time this afternoon. 6-5, men on second and third, 2 outs. That brings up the Team Canada pickup, Ricky Johnson.
And I think luckily for Willie that there was 2 outs where he didn't have to wait to tag up or see if it was going to be caught.
Yeah.
He's going on the crack of the bat. Willie was laboring rounding third.
Yes, he was. And Willie will probably tell you he was going all out.
He was
Never
going
mind.
all out, yeah.
Yeah, he had the sprinters.
He runs like
Sprinter
me. He
steps
blew a
on it.
tire rounding third, I think. He's like me. They time us with the sundial. That pitch goes outside. 1-1 now the count to the right fielder Johnson, with Dave Cooper waiting on deck. Cooper with 2 hits and a walk. Johnson with a walk, fielder's choice, and a single back in the 4th. Strike on the inside corner. 1-2 now to Johnson. Tecumseh Green Giants have livened this crowd up, as they were pretty quiet up until this inning. The pitch to Johnson, swing and a miss, strike 3. Johnson upset with himself as he knew that that pitch was eye high and that he had no business swinging at it. But in any event, the Tecumseh Green Giants have chipped away and they have taken the lead on 2 runs. There were 3 Tecumseh hits and 2 runners left on base. So at the end of 5 complete innings, Tecumseh 6, Quebec 5. And Dominic Papa has another interview for us, so we'll go to Dom now down on the sidelines.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Joining me is the hosting committee WAA team, Roger Segan. And Roger, let's get your overview of what's happened here this weekend. Have things gone according to plan for the hosting of these games?
Well, I think as far as going according to plan, we never planned on hosting this thing originally. It was supposed to be held in another part of the province, and they backed out sort of at the last minute. And I guess they approached the OBA, and through Bernie Soulier, they talked to the president of our organization, Ron Smith, who approached our executive, and we said, well, okay, let's give it a shot. It's going to cost a lot of money, and a lot of organization has to take place. And so after a lot of soul searching, we decided, well, let's give it a shot. But we needed Bernie Soulier, who's done a lot of these kinds of things before, to be our mentor, our chairman, and he's been the guy who's done most of the work, and along with Ronnie Smith, the president of our organization, they deserve 90% of the credit.
Huge undertaking, not only financially, but just to get this thing off the ground.
No question. People don't realize the little things done, you have to arrange for scorekeepers. You have to arrange to bill at the umpires. You have to get the teams in. You have to put them up at the university or someplace. You have to pay for their meals. Scorers, like I mentioned, ball boys. Just so many little things. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, I'd like to congratulate you and your group on a fine job this weekend.
Well, I can't mention everybody's names, but Ronnie Smith and Bernie Sudia really deserve most of the credit.
Okay, that was
Thank you, Don.
that was Roger Segan of the Windsor Athletic Association. Back to the action with Rick and Steve.
Okay, thanks, Dom, and thanks a lot, Roger. Roger giving you a little bit of insight on how things are taken care of and what it takes to put on a tournament like this. The first batter of the inning was Martin Beauchamp, and Beauchamp hit a screamer back at the mound that went off of O'Connor's leg, and O'Connor couldn't quite pick it up. So I think we're going to give a score at a base hit, are we, Steve, up here? Okay, we're going to give it a base hit on that then. And he sure hit a hard shot right back at O'Connor, and that'll bring up, with the bunt that goes foul, is Benoit Belanger, the center fielder. Belanger sacrificed in the first, walked in the second, and grounded to short in the third.
Nice attempt to sacrifice bunt there. Again, for you people watching at home, sacrifice bunt does not necessarily mean that you have to bunt that pitch wherever it goes or that the runner has to run. All right, so the hitter's job is just to bunt a strike and to get it down on the ground. Get the top half of the ball, hit the bottom half of the bat. The runner's job is, once he sees the ball is on the ground, to advance to second base. So in other words, if it's a bad bunt, if he pops it up, runner stays put right at first, not getting doubled off. Lofgren moving in, bunt, good bunt at third base. Lofgren has it right away, bobbles it, goes straight to first base.
As Mahler covering for the out.
He's listening to Wilson, making the right play.
So the sacrifice works to a T.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea, although I really wasn't watching, in fairness to O'Connor. It's a good idea for the pitcher, maybe in an obvious bunt situation, just to throw over to first base, not so much as in a pickoff attempt, but while you're throwing to first base, it gives the infielders just a chance to sneak a peek over the hitter, see if he gives it away that he is going to lay one down, let them move in a couple extra steps, review their defensive strategy, which they should already know anyway.
So this is the catcher, Martin Lefebvre, as he fouls one out of play. And it's also not a bad move, like you said, to go over to first. Maybe you can hold that runner and keep him a step or two closer to first. And in that situation, if Lofgren comes up clean with it, he may have a shot at the runner going to second base.
That's
so
right.
It works both ways there.
Although Mike Wilson, that's his call. That's the catcher's call. Remember, he's the manager out on the field, and Willie did make the right call because he play ball well hit to center field.
Over the head of Murphy, and that will score Beauchamp as he rounds third and jogs in safely. So we now have a tie ball game again, and Rob Murphy very upset with himself out in center field.
Yeah,
I think he knows he should have had that one.
He should have had that ball. Murph knows it. That's why he's upset. Rarely are you going to see Murph make a mistake like that, because as sure as he is up at the plate offensively, he's just as sure as a defensive outfielder. We'll get a replay on that. You see Murph coming in. He's got a beat on the ball. He's right there. Then you see, I think what happened was the wind just took it a little more. He didn't allow anything for the wind, and just as it's coming to Murph, it just sailed over. The wind playing havoc with the ball out there now. So that ties up the score. It's a 6-6 game right here.
And that'll bring up Eric Frechette. Frechette looks at ball one outside. He had an RBI single in the first, flew out to right field in the second, and a single back in the fourth inning.
Frechette, of course, the big burly hitter. He's the guy that hit one about 900 feet the other night. Sailed it over the scoreboard there, so he does have the power, and I'm sure he's thinking of that, just to turn on one with his gale blowing out to right field.
3-0 now, the count to Frechette. The runner at second base is Lefebvre, the catcher. He represents the go-ahead run.
Just been informed, IBM tailed the tape, 402 feet it went.
Strike on the inside corner. 3-1 now to Frechette, and he may get the green light here with the 3-1 count. O'Connor comes to the set, kicks and side for ball 4. And O'Connor getting himself into a little bit of a jam here in the 6th inning.
I think Wilson and O'Connor talked about Frechette. They know what kind of power he has with first base open, him being a left-hander, wind blowing out. They were going to pitch him away and not give him anything good to hit. It's almost the unintentional, intentional pass. Here they've got Mazoka coming up. Mazoka, if you remember, was wailing away at the curveball last time up, striking out swinging, and he's bailing out on the right-hander. O'Connor, he's going to go to the right side of the rubber and try and give him that off-speed stuff, get him beat it in the dirt so they can turn 2.
O'Connor comes to the set, delivers inside, ball 1. 1 out here in the 6th inning, 2 runners aboard. 6-6 tie as the Green Giants took the lead in the bottom of the 5th, and Quebec promptly comes back to tie the game here in the top half of the 6th inning. O'Connor checks the runner back at second, fouled straight back by Mazoka.
Notice that all the curveballs inside of the plate, fastballs away. He steps away as he's throwing. They see the flaw in his batting technique, and they're going to attack the weakness. Count at 1-2.
O'Connor doesn't like that ball, so he'll get another one from umpire Don Gilbert.
Actually, they'll try and pitch him away even with the off-speed pitches. This way, if he does get a hold of it, he'll beat it in the dirt or try and pull that outside pitch.
O'Connor looks into Wilson to get the sign. Gets it, comes to the set, delivers home. A ground ball. Good play by the shortstop Burke. The relay in time for the double play. An excellent play by shortstop Chris Burke.
Yeah, that
to get O'Connor out of a big jam in the top of the 6th.
That had base hit written on that right up the middle. Let's see, right here. It was hit well, right off the crack of the bat. Gets by O'Connor. O'Connor has no play on it. Are we going to get a second look? Yes, we are. And as I said, that had base hit written all over it. Burke comes out of nowhere, spears it, gives it to Mahler. And Mahler just flips it like he's Lou Whitaker right there, right from underneath Cooper, outstretched glove. And they get 2. O'Connor says, thank you very much. That's what I wanted. So the strategy works. Keep pitching Mazoka right on the outside part of the plate. Try and get him to pull that outside pitch. He does. He hit it hard, but the infield turns 2.
Okay, so after 5.5, we have a tie ball game here in the gold medal round, 6-6. Welcome back. There you see a Go Green Giants Go, one of the fans holding up the sign here at Micmac Stadium. The gold medal game in the Canadian Senior Baseball Championships, live from Micmac Stadium. I'm Rick Burns along with Steve Vorkapich, and hopefully all you viewers that have tuned in are enjoying this game as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And we'd also like to give a special thanks to all the Cable 11 volunteers and Peter Friel, our producer out in the truck, making this game possible, as Dave Cooper will lead it off in the bottom of the 6th for Tecumseh as he looks at ball 1.
You've got your 3rd, 4th, and 5th hitters coming up. Cooper, Rutschke, and now we have, if you're scoring at home, Johnny Lofgren. All right, or I'm sorry, Rob Lofgren, who was inserted as a pinch runner last inning for Tim Lassard.
And Cooper looks at that pitch. Ball 2, 2-1 now the count to Dave Cooper. And Cooper going to be looking for a fastball here that he can drive over that left field fence. Cooper with a lot of power. Ball 3 up high. Good eye by Dave Cooper. He had a notion about going for it, but wisely laid off.
Now it's interesting, Rick. What do you do if Cooper gets on with Rutschke, all kinds of home run power? Do you sacrifice bunt or do you go for the gusto?
I'm glad I'm not the manager. Is that a cop-out or what? Eh?
Yeah. That's a way to ride the fence there, buddy.
You got that right. I'm glad I'm not Donnie Fields.
Well, I'll tell you what. Personally, I would bunt him across, even with Rutschke having the hot bat. You know, you're just playing for 1 run, figuring O'Connor can come in and hold down the fort. But at the same time, you understand if Fields wants to go with Rutschke's hot bat, you can see why.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe try a delayed steal as well. Maybe not. I think you'd bunt him instead of steal him. Now, if it was Murphy, yes, but I don't. It's going to be interesting to see how manager Don Fields calls it if Cooper get on. The full count pitch is up high, and Cooper does get on. So we'll see now with Rutschke coming up. Rutschke, a pure power hitter. So we'll have to wait and see, and it's going to be interesting to see what manager Donnie Fields has. He may give him maybe one swing at it and see what's what, and maybe bunt him with one strike.
Yeah, I would bunt right off the bat. Third baseman creeping in, you want to get that guy over to third base. Let your hitters after that, and they've been hitting well. Butler and Wilson both have hit well. Good to see. Now Rudder, turn around, get that bat on the ball, and just do your job and get the bunt down. Rudder, I don't think is used to bunting.
No, not at all.
Still shouldn't be an excuse, because I'm sure they work on it in practice quite often, even before the games, just to get their eye on the ball, and it's just a fundamental skill that they many times helps your team win games. And in this case, Canadian championships.
One strike to Paul Rutschke, the designated hitter. As Levesque gets a sign, delivers. The bunt down to first baseline is foul. So would you have him bunt on third strike here? Or
Most definitely. I'm assuming that Fields thinks or knows that Rutschke can bunt and get the bunt down, so that's why he gave him the first two cracks. Make him bunt the third one. If not, well, then shoot him.
Sure, Rudder will appreciate that like an old war horse. Don't send him to pasture, shoot him. Two strike count to Paul Rutschke. And no indication there to bunt as it's high and outside for ball one. And I think they're going to let him swing the bat now.
Taking the bunt off, yeah.
Rutschke steps in. The Levesque is fouled down the first baseline. Going after it was Lacoste, but he could not catch up with it as it squirts away into the fence, into the bullpen area. So 1-2 the count still to the designated hitter, Paul Rutschke. And I'm sure Rutschke's looking for a pitch in his zone where he can drive it. 6-6 tie here in the bottom of the sixth. The pitch from Levesque is chopped down the third baseline, and Cooper was on the move on that pitch, so maybe a bit of a hit and run play on.
Yeah, figuring if Rudder swings for the Boondocks and strikes out, that Cooper still be down at third base or second base. Coop's got a good jump on that too.
So Levesque not holding him on, but I think you'll see maybe a throw over there, just a courtesy throw to keep Cooper honest over there at first base.
Yeah, it'd be a smart move, especially with Levesque being left-handed. That good move. It'd be a crime if he doesn't have one.
He delivers home, and Rutschke goes down
He's
swinging.
automatically out, first base being occupied.
So the bunt does not work as Rutschke couldn't lay it down, and now with one out, the runner is still at first base, and that'll bring up Rob Lofgren, and Rob batting for the first time this afternoon as he was inserted as a pinch runner last inning for Tim Lassard and scored a big run. Dave Cooper on at first base. Wild pitch would be nice right about now. Ooh, and just about too. I just about called that one as it's in the dirt, but good block by the catcher Lefebvre.
I'd be surprised if Cooper gets given the steal sign, only because you got a left-hander, hasn't shown his move, so just because he's a left-hander, Coops is going to stay close to the base, not really getting a good jump. I've been watching him on pitch, and at the same time, it's a right-hander at the plate, open side, easier for the catcher to throw. There he goes.
And the throw is into center field. Cooper gets up. He's on his way to third. The throw comes in from Belanger, not in time. Safe at third is Dave Cooper, and he surprised everybody in the ballpark with that one.
You got it, and on the first one, he's surprised.
So
as it turns out great for the Green Giants. They're threatening here in their half of the sixth inning. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you just joined us, this is a great game that you're missing. Replay here, good pitch to go on.
You see the throw tailing away from second
tails
base.
in, goes into center field. Coops with the pop-up slide. As soon as he sees that it's not caught, he's heads up right, going right to third base and sliding in head first right there.
You notice, Steve, he slid into second feet first.
That's right.
And into third head first.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
This way at second base, by going in feet first, in that situation, does get away, it's a lot easier for him to get up and take off to third base. Good
Correct.
heads-up play by Dave Cooper.
Correct. Jacques Laperriere, the manager for the Quebec Select team, calling everybody in here, all the infielders, deciding what they're going to do with one out. And I think what he has to do right now with one out is bring the whole infield in. Bring everybody in. Any type of ground ball, there's a play at the plate. Check the runner, go after him at home plate. Cooper being the competitive person he is, but at the same time, a smart ball player. He'll probably, decide, see what goes on, and if he is going to go, it's got to be right on contact. As soon as the ball hits the ground, he's got to come charging.
Any thought of a squeeze play here, Steve? Of course, we weren't expecting Cooper to take off either.
I would think that, yeah, but at the same time, I don't know what kind of a bunter Lofgren is. Again, assuming that he can bunt, by all means.
Ground ball to short, coming home.
And he would have had the play.
And the throw goes wild to first, so Lofgren will take off to second base. And round the bag, the throw over to third is cut off by the pitcher Levesque, and I'd like to see that again on the replay because
Marc Goudreau fielded that ball cleanly. Laperriere just called in his infield, said, "This is what I want you to do. If you get the ball, I want you to come to the plate." I think he just got cold feet. He was afraid of making the play. He fielded that ball cleanly.
Let's see it here. He might have juggled it a bit, Steve. I don't think he got it in his throwing hand because he started to come home.
He started.
See there you see there. And he doesn't
He's
quite
coming home, and then he decides to stop.
And then he decides not.
And then goes to first base. He just got cold feet. He conceded that run to Tecumseh. Tecumseh gets the lead, 7-6, and that's how it stands.
And a runner at second base is Lofgren. The throw, and it not coming home, and also a wild throw to first base to boot, and puts another potential run in the scoring position.
That's right.
So not a good play all the way around by Goudreau.
No, I'm sure he's second-guessing himself. Tecumseh Green Giants leading 7-6 here in their half of the sixth inning. Now that they've got the lead, it's up to Sean O'Connor. They're trying to pad that lead right here, but once they go out in the field, if O'Connor can set them down 1-2-3 without giving up a run, they've captured their first ever Canadian championship. And
that ball fouled off by Butler.
Telling you, Mike Dunning correcting me earlier that even though they've never won a Canadian championship, he insists 1891 they beat the Chicago White Sox in the National Association to win the World Championship, and in Gene's cabin there in the clubhouse, they've got the newspaper article to prove it. I guess it was one of those columns that things you won't find in Cooperstown, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is situated.
And Butler hits a there to first base. And they do throw it to second base, but scampering back on time was Lofgren. So that's the second out of the inning now. Tecumseh up 7-6, and it brings up Mike Wilson, the big catcher for Tecumseh Green Giants. Two outs here in the bottom of the sixth. Tecumseh with a very gritty performance, finding themselves down 5-1 earlier on, and have fought back to take the lead here in the bottom of the sixth, 7-6. And just a reminder that these games are only 7 innings long. So Tecumseh trying to pad their lead and go into the 7th inning and hold this Quebec Select team down. As that pitch goes outside. Yeah, 2 balls. Mike Wilson.
Levesque throwing the off-speed stuff on the outside part of the plate, which surprised me. You figure you come in, although Willie likes to stay away from the plate a little more than other hitters, and they might know that and try and not letting him get his arms extended. You see Bubba Wilson there, big guy. He's got some good power, and not particularly a home run hitter, but he hits a ball with a lot of authority.
Strike down the middle of the plate.
Right down the gut. Willie says, hey, 2-0 I was taken, but you give me that pitch again and I will not take that.
Levesque looking in for the sign. The 2-1 offering is swung on and fouled straight back as Willie had a good rip at a fastball.
As I'd mentioned earlier, Wilson fouling that one straight back. When you're right on the pitch and you foul it straight back, you know you've got that pitcher's number, and I think he's going to come in and challenge him again with another fastball, 2-2 here. Probably go on the outside plate. Willie with that right field wind and his natural swing that way, he'd be willing to go the opposite way as he takes a curveball in the dirt to make the count full.
Full count now to Willie.
I'm sorry, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 man on in scoring position. Rob Lofgren, the pinch runner last inning, in for Tim Lassard. He's at second. Mike Wilson looking to pad that 7-6 lead that Tecumseh has here in the 6th inning of the Canadian final.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Quebec gets out of it, but Tecumseh comes back and scores 1 run on actually no hits. There was a walk and a big error on the shortstop Goudreau to put Tecumseh up by a score of 7-6. There you see our score.
Just completed 6 innings here, and it's a 7-6 score in favor of the Tecumseh Green Giants. And joining me right now, one of the local umpires who had a chance to participate in this year's Canadian Championships, Jay Tessier. And Jay, second time around for you at the Canadians. Any different this time around?
The difference is a little bit more experience and understanding what's expected of a national umpire, and knowing more of the umpires this time. Really enjoyable.
A little bit of pressure on you to ump in your own hometown?
Yeah, I feel it's a little more pressure than being out of town, whereas there's 2 local teams that already know me and a lot of the fans know me, and I'm expected to perform differently, it seems, by some people's standards, so I would prefer to be out of town instead of here.
No nicknames that way, right?
That's right. People don't know me that well out of town.
Any rule changes coming into Canadians compared to regular play ball that you ump here all summer?
Well, normally we would work a 2-man system, and that makes it a lot harder for us on a regular season game. Work for, now obviously in the championship series, 6 umpires. We each have a specific job to do, but it makes it a lot easier on ourselves.
Okay, well, job well done. Congratulations, and continued success in the future.
Thank you, Dominic.
Let's go back up to the booth to Rick and Steve.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Mario Waugh, the designated hitter, will lead off the 7th inning for the Quebec Selects. A 1-2 count to the big designated hitter catcher as he takes a ball outside to even it up at 2 apiece.
Top of the 6th inning, Quebec Selects trailing by 1, 7-6, and they've got 3 cracks at it right here, 1, 2, and 3. If they don't, then the Tecumseh Green Giants are going to win their first Canadian gold medal ever in their rich history.
Ball down low, 3-2 now the count. And O'Connor does not want to walk the tying run.
No, he's going to come right in. He's going to challenge him. If he gets a base hit, hey, no problem at all, but you don't want to give him a free pass.
And the ball, Mahler goes to his right. The throw to first on time for the out.
Mahler getting a little cocky there, throwing it from underneath, and just pulled Cooper just a tad off the base. Coops makes a nice catch there with the outstretched glove, reaching back and touching first. I think he's kind of giving him a grin. And it's one of those where, because it was an out, if they win this, they'll be talking about it tonight when they're celebrating, and he'll be giving it to him, but at the same time, if he was safe, he'd be giving it to him, but in another way. He'd be giving him, he's going to get an earful either way, either in a fun way or a not so fun way.
The third baseman, Claude Gravel, will now bat. He had an RBI double in the first, single in the third, and flew out to Rob Murphy in center field back in the 5th. The 1-ball pitch is over for strike 1. 1-1 now they count to Gravel.
At times, Gilbert gives us the delayed call up here, so it's a little hard to pick up whether it's
we have to
strike or a
hesitate
ball.
there for a minute to see what he's.
You know, he calls it right away, and the players know, but it's hard to hear it up here in the press box.
The pitch from O'Connor, curveball, misses in the inside. 2-1 now to Gravel.
Well, Rick, as the tournament winds down, I just want to tell you it's been a pleasure working with you. You made things a lot easier, and you've been very helpful, you and the whole cable crew. And at this time, I'd like to give you a personal thanks as much as you've helped me out.
And thanks a lot, Steve. And likewise, it's been a pleasure. As that Gravel flies out to right field, and that gets the crowd alive. 2 outs now in the top of the 7th, and that will bring up Martin Lacoste, the first baseman. The last hope for the Quebec Selects. Lacoste grounded out to Mahler at second base in the first inning, doubled in the third, and singled in the 5th. So he's 2 for 3 on the afternoon.
And he has good power. He's hit 2 bronze in this tournament. And I'm sure if there's a time he ever wanted to jack one, it'd be right now. And for the umpteenth time that I've mentioned today, there's still a gale blowing out to straight right field. No one's decided to take advantage of it yet. Will Lacasse be the first one?
O'Connor's pitch is right down the middle of the plate for strike one. 1-1 the count now to Lacasse.
O'Connor just going right after him, challenging him, throwing strikes. As soon as he gets that ball, he wants to heave it right back. There's a fly ball. That might be the ball game. It's going to be a tough play. And he's got it.
It is Lofgren.
Tecumseh Green
Excellent
Giants.
play by Lofgren to backpedal and go after that. And there you see the 1992 Canadian Championships, the Tecumseh Green Giants. And you got to feel good for Donnie Fields.
Hey,
all the years he's been there, and he finally manages a winner.
You got it. A good fundamental baseball man. Donnie Fields with the Green Giant organization for many years, and I know he's got to be the happiest guy in the world right now. He and his wife Sue Fields. It's been a long road, and finally they've gotten to the gold mine.
So there you see it. The Tecumseh Green Giants are the 1992 Canadian Senior Men's Baseball champion.
And you know, Rick, in this tournament going 6-0 in the round robin and now winning this one 7-0, they have clearly demonstrated that no doubt they were and they are the best team in this whole tournament.
Well, they were definitely favored going into this game and into the tournament, and they proved why they should represent Ontario, and they definitely represented Ontario well with this win. They fought from a 5-1 deficit after 2 innings.
That's right, and you know, Quebec also select team again, not being a club team, but those players being picked from their senior elimination tournament. They put on a good show, but just when it came down to the nitty-gritty, they just were not a match for the Tecumseh Green Giants.
And like you said, with them, as there you see us, you can see the wind blowing us all over the place up here. And it's got to be a special feeling for the Tecumseh manager, Donnie Fields, because of the fact, as you stated, Steve, that it is an all-star team from Quebec.
That's right.
Not a league team, as Tecumseh is, with a few pickups, yes, but there isn't many teams that come into this tournament without picking up a few players to help out their team. And Quebec decided to come in with a whole all-star team.
Yeah, they're a club team. They beat the provincial all-stars. Hey, there they are right there. It says it all right on their faces. The Canadian gold medalists, Tecumseh Green Giants. Congratulations to Fields.
And there you see they're making the medal presentations right now, and hopefully Dom will come on up and join us up here as they are making the presentation.
All 3 teams being on the field. Tecumseh Green Giants winning their first gold medal. The Quebec Select All-Stars are the silver medalists. The Corner Brook Barons from Corner Brook, Newfoundland, winning the Newfoundland's first medal ever in national competition. They are the bronze medalists of the 1992 Senior Canadian National Championships.
And there you see the tournament director, Bernie Sillier, handing out the medals along with Ron Smith, the manager of the host WAA.
Perfect timing to pat those gentlemen one last time on the back. Bernie Sillier and Ron Smith doing an A1 professional job in terms of how to run a tournament, and it doesn't surprise us at all, Rick. Those are 2-class gentlemen. They know what they're doing. They've had a lot of experience. You know, Sillier not just at the national level but the international level, and you know, wouldn't surprise me if they approach him to say, can we please run the World Junior Tournament here in 1993?
Most definitely. Bernie Sillier, Ron Smith, Roger Sagan, and the whole
WAA
committee
organization.
The whole WAA organization and the whole committee just did a super job here this weekend and putting this tournament on, and talking to all the teams and the players and that during the sidelines and whatnot, that they just loved it here. Loved it, had a great time, said it was a class #1 tournament, and they were all very, very pleased with the way things ran.
I think Windsor The City of Roses, they've proven over the years that they're the hotbed of baseball talent. This is the hotbed when it comes to baseball talent, not just in Canada, but North America. And now they've shown that they can host tournaments just as well as they can play in them. So I'm sure that this is the foundation to see a lot more future national tournaments held right here at Micmac Stadium.
Yeah, definitely. And Dom has another interview down on the sideline, so we'll go to Dom right now.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Joining me now is Sean O'Connor, the winning pitcher from today's game. Sean, you have to be quite pleased with your outing. You came into a tough situation and really held off the Quebec team after they started out really quickly.
Yeah, well, I felt good in the bullpen, and I knew it'd work out all right. This team they just knew how to win. They just battled back and kept going at them, and it was great. It was easy out there.
Of course, you're an addition to this team. They picked you up from the Ottawa area, but you're no stranger to championships. With the Chiefs, now another one here. This is becoming habit for you.
Yeah, no kidding. I just got to work on getting my team from Ottawa down here sometime. That's all.
Sounds like you have your fan club here. Any fans with you from Ottawa?
No, there's nobody with me, but I stayed with Dave Cooper's family, and I met a few of his friends, so they're all sticking behind me.
Okay, you mentioned this team here being a great team. No question, they have a great nucleus here. Playing on some of the Chiefs and with this team now, can you see difference in the clubs?
Well, the big similar thing is that they both know how to win, and they both, no matter what the score, we were down 3-0, we were down 5-1, and they just know how to win. They just keep coming back, and they work hard, and they don't give up, and that's great. They play great defense today.
Okay, as I mentioned, you're coming in from Ottawa. Did that put any pressure on you to perform to high expectations?
No, I don't think so. I talked to Donnie Fields before I came down, and he knew what he was getting. I told him I'd do the best I could. He pitched me on Thursday and gave me lots of rest till today, so everything worked out great.
Okay, Sean, congratulations on another championship. A job well done.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Sean O'Connor, a pitcher from the Ottawa area who performed well here for the Tecumseh Green Giants, and he was the winning pitcher in the gold medal game. We'll go back up to the booth now to Rick and Steve.
Thanks a lot, Dom. And you see Tecumseh flying their city flag proudly, as they are the 92 Canadian champions, the best in Canada. And that's got to be awful proud for them to say that, Steve.
Most definitely. And, you know, they had lost in the finals or semifinals of their league, the International Baseball League that they're playing. The Chiefs were in the league, and WAA, a few teams over in the States. And Tecumseh losing a shocker in the semifinals, and I know that didn't dampen their spirits at all. They came back to win the Ontario's and romped through the Canadian Championships. And, you know, over the years, they've played in the Stan Musial League, the County League, the Western Counties League. They even played in, I'm trying to think of the word, the United States Baseball League over there. And they've just moved around. They even played in the Detroit Federal League for 1 year. Always seeking out the best possible competition. All those years of hard work, all those years of scrutinizing the best talent, trying to recruit. And remember, they're in competition with the Chiefs and WA, two other class organizations, and trying to get that young talent and mold them into the organization. And all those years of hard work, it's paid off. This is what it's all about today. All the hard work, not just this past year, the hours in the gym, the hours of practices, you know, the hours of planning and administration, and this is what it's all about, the gold medal.
Oh, definitely. And like I stated before, you got to feel for Donnie Fields, as Donnie's been the manager since back in the 70s, and finally his dream has come true.
That's
he can
right.
take home a Canadian champion.
That's right. I'm happy for him.
And Dom's got another interview, so we'll go down to Dominic on the sidelines right now.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Joining me, Quebec, Loris Mazoka, and Loris, obviously a disappointing loss. The team goes up 5-1 after, I think it was the second inning. Maybe they got a little bit too comfortable with that lead?
I don't think we got comfortable. I think that we stayed within ourselves. We had a couple bad breaks. Could have gone either way, you know. It was just one of those games. Could have gone either way. The wind didn't help, you know.
What was the game plan going into this game, Loris? I mean, I'm sure you were well aware of the Tecumseh bats.
Well, we all know they can hit, first of all, but our game plan was for us to get ahead and play good defense and just play defense. You know, defense wins championships.
So, what was, in your opinion, Loris, the biggest difference in this contest?
I think experience. You got a lot of experienced guys on the other side. that's what might be lacking is just get that championship under our belt, and we'll come out, you know, a little stronger, a little more experienced.
A lot of people are not aware that this Quebec team actually is quite a new team. I know there's only 5 returning players from the championships last year, you being one of them. You have to be pleased with your overall performance in the tournament, being that there was only 5 players back from last year.
Oh, definitely. There's nothing wrong with winning a silver medal. You know, anybody will take a silver medal. Gold is great, but just like I said, we got to go get over that hump, and get over that hump. That's all it takes.
Can this team return again next year?
Oh, definitely. You know, like, it wasn't a one-sided game today. You know, we stuck with them all the way to the end. I mean, we got to give us a lot of credit. You know, and I think one thing is that we don't get enough credit. You know, we got some good ball players back home, and next year you might see a gang of brand new. That's how many good ball players we have back home.
Okay, well, congratulations on the silver medal, Loris.
Thank you very much.
That was Loris Mazoka, a member of the Quebec team, silver medal team at that. We'll go back up to the booth to Rick and Steve right now.
Okay. Thanks, Dom. And there you see as they are making the final medal presentations. And they're giving away the MVPs of this game and the tournament. And at this time, just a reminder once again that the Tecumseh Green Giants are the '92 Canadian champions. And we'd like to thank all our Cable 11 volunteers, especially Peter Friel out in the truck, our producer, for making this possible and bringing you all 5 games of our telecast this weekend. And a special thanks on my behalf to my partner for this tournament, Steve Vorkapich. Working with you, Steve, and hope to work with you in the future.
My exact sentiments.
So from all of us at Cable 11, on behalf of Steve Vorkapich and myself, have a good afternoon, everybody, and we'll see you soon.